I'm Dr. Prabhat Dwivedi. Today I'm going to discuss measures of central tendency, just an introduction part. So let's see what measures of central tendency are. But before that, let me discuss with the types of statistics. Then I would better connect you to the measures of central tendency. Statistics are typically, categorized into two: descriptive statistics and uh, inferential statistics. So descriptive statistics further comprises of two major things, which are measures of central tendency and measures of variability. In measures of central tendency, we are going to study mean, median, mode, and then in measures of dispersion, we will be studying range, variance, dispersion. So what these measures of central tendency and measures of variables do, because they are categorized in descriptive statistics, that means they are just trying to describe the data set, as the name suggests, descriptive statistics. So they will describe the data set. That's why their name is descriptive statistics. Now, let's see what measures of central tendency mean. Measures of central tendency, that means a measure which tries to measure central tendency, the middle or mid kind of value. So here the meaning mentioned are a single value that tries to describe a data set by identifying the central position within that data set. Single value which represent the entire data set, and that is somehow a central value. Another point mentioned over here is a measure that represents the single value of the entire distribution of data set. So measure of central tendency is a measure that represents single data set just by a single value. The whole data set just by a single value. This is the value which is neither the lowest nor the highest value. Why? Because it is a central value. So central value doesn't happen to be lowest or highest. And lastly, measures of central tendency provide the basis of comparison between two or more groups. I mean, once you get measures of central tendency for two or more groups, this facilitates you to compare between those two or more groups. Now, the definition part. What Simpson and Kafka says, or how Simpson and Kafka defines a measure of central tendency as to be a typical value around which other figures congregate. A typical value means a representative value around which other figures congregate, means other figures collect around which. So that is a representative value according to Simpson and Kafka. What Voss says, an average or a measure of central tendency or a central tendency stands for the whole group of which it forms a part, yet represents the whole. Means it is just a value, it is just part of the whole data set, but it represents the whole data set. Now, let's see how measures of central tendency can be categorized into two, and that too, mathematical measure of central tendency and positional measure of central tendency. So here central tendency can be categorized into two parts, that is mathematical and positional. And in mathematical measure of central tendency, there is only one, that is mean. This doesn't tell us the position, the location. It is based on the mathematical calculation of all the data points, And mean has three kinds of its kinds, that is arithmetic mean, geometric mean and harmonic mean. But we will be studying only arithmetic mean. Whereas positional measures are median and mode. So we will be studying median and mode also. Now, let's see how and why mean and mode are said to be positional measure, where median and mode are said to be positional measure where mean is not. In these diagrams you can see the first diagram is a symmetrical diagram. First diagram is symmetrical diagram. Here we can see that mean is equal to median is equal to mode. That means this data set is uniformly distributed. This is ideal form of data set which rarely exists in the real world, in which if you calculate mean, median, mode and all three are same. This is a virtual condition. This is not actually an actual condition. It is a rarest of rare case when we find this kind of situation, when mean, median and mode are equal. What happens usually? There are asymmetrical data set which are given below. The two asymmetrical data set. The first one you see, this is skewed to the left side, and that's why this is called negatively skewed data set. And this is skewed to the right side and it is called positively skewed data set. Here we can clearly see that mean is not equal to median, is not equal to mode. This is the situation here. I am enlarging it. Just see. Here, in the first case, we can see that mean is smaller than median and median is smaller than mode. But you can see mode is the value which is at the top of the curve. In second one, you see mode is smaller than median and median is smaller than mean. But in both the cases, you see median lies in the middle. This. Median lies in the middle. This. And mode is the highest peaked value. This is the mode. So, learners, you see here, median is always found between mean and mode. So, it tells its location, its position, that is the middle position between mean and mode, being either side. If it is, negatively skewed curve, mean is left side and mode is right side, and in the middle is the median. If it is positively skewed curve, mode is in the left side, mean is on the right side and median is in the middle. But in both the cases, median remains in the middle. That's why median is a positional measure or locational measure of central tendency. And mode, in both the cases or in all the cases you find, mode is the value which is highest value in the curve. That's why mode is also called a locational measure or positional measure. I think you might have understood why median and mode are called positional measures of central tendency, whereas mean is not. Now, let's see brief description of mean, median and mode. Mean is nothing else but the sum of all values upon number of values. Here you can see. Median is the middle value when data is arranged in ascending or descending order. If the data is not arranged, median cannot be calculated. So, it is the middle value when and only when data is in order. And then comes mode is the most common value. So that's how we see the brief description of mean, median and mode here. Now, the properties of a good measure of central tendency or good average. This is a set of characteristics which, if a measure of central tendency qualifies most of them, it can be called that much a good measure of central tendency. So what are these characteristics? Let's take one by one. The first one is it should be easy to understand, and the second one is it should be simple to compute. I mean computation simplicity and understandability, both should be there, and that's what a mean, median or mode often have. Easy to understand and simple to calculate. Then the third one is it should be based on all the observations. If it is based on all the observations, it is a good measure of central tendency. If several observations can be left and without taking care of those observations you can calculate it, then this may not be considered a good measure of central tendency. The fourth one is it should not be affected by extreme values. The best measure of central tendency is the one which is not affected by the outliers or extreme values. Extreme values or outliers are like if the age of students in a class ranges, most of the students' age in the class ranges between 20 to 25, but one person in that class is of 60 years old, then this can be called an outlier or an extreme value. And if without adding this value the mean is 23 years and after adding this value the mean becomes 30 years, this has a significant impact. That means this is affected by the extreme observation, and if it is affected by the extreme observation, this measure of central tendency cannot be called a better measure of central tendency. And the fifth one is it should be rigidly defined. Rigidly defined means if anybody calculates it with the same data set, the result should be same. If anybody calculates anywhere, result should be same. I mean it should not be subjective, depending upon person to person, place to place, time to time. If it is not so, it is rigidly defined, like everybody gets the same result by milling up the same data. And the last one is it should be capable of further algebraic treatment. I mean, if you have a measure of central tendency and you can't do with it anything further, then it is not considered a good measure of central tendency. But if you can consider it for further calculations, further interpretations, using further further mathematical calculations, this can be called a good measure of central tendency. So that was all about the introduction part of measures of central tendency. Further, I will take mean, median, mode separately before you, and then you can understand what actually these are. So learners, that's all for today. Thank you so much. If you find this piece of knowledge worth, you can subscribe, share, like, comment. Thank you so much.